Chapter 7. Aaron and Olaf were helping Uncle Epal in his store when a Quarian walked in. This was odd because Quarians were rare on the Citadel, especially down here. He smiled at Aaron, which she could see through his helmet. "Can I help you?" Aaron asked. "I'm looking for Aaron and Olaf McKinley." "What did you want with them?" Aram asked, his hand on his pistol. "With great anger, you will take over my dead body. Please, there's no need for aggression." And then the Quarian did something impossible. He took off his helmet. "It's about the MSV Frankenstein." Erin gasped when she saw the Quarian's face. But before she could say anything, she suddenly felt very sleepy. Then the world went wobbly before going black. CSEC arrived at Uncle Epal's store 5 minutes later. They found Epal and Aram on the floor, both heavily sedated. A quick check of the security feeds revealed that the last 30 minutes were missing. As for Aaron and Olaf McKinley, they had just vanished. SSV Ain Jalut. The security feeds had confirmed that the MSV Frankenstein had refueled at the Vienna system depot. She had just finished when all the feeds cut out. Zhukov had reactivated the cameras and checked all the rooms, but there had been no bodies, no blood spatter, and no bullet holes. "This is just creepy," Zhukov said. He was on the bridge with McKinley and Barnaby. "Let the skipper know about it. We have a solar system to search, Chief." "Sounds like a plan to me, LT." Zhukov turned his attention back to the sensors. Meanwhile, Zara was waiting for her connection to Admiral Hackett, but when the call went through, it was Admiral David Anderson that answered. "Report, Captain Ayers. We've had a development regarding our search for the MSV Frankenstein." She calmly explained what they had found in the Vienna system. Then she told Anderson about their visit to Purple Tango and Alpha. "You suspect the two incidents are connected, but lack hard evidence," Anderson said. "Yes, Admiral, that's why we're—" It was at this point that Admiral Hackett joined the conversation. "Admiral Hackett, I was just bringing Admiral Anderson up to speed." "I know, Captain. I read the transcript. Before that, I was on a call with Commander Bailey of CSEC. The 7 ghosts visited the Citadel." Ayers and Anderson listened as Hackett explained what had happened. SSV Ain Jalut. 2 days before the Reaper. War. Admiral Hackett had somehow gotten every scrap of information the Quarians had about the 7 ghosts. Zara had known better than to ask for details. Instead, they had spent days following up on every sighting, rumor, and possibility regarding the 7 ghosts, and had nothing to show for it. So Zara had decided to try one last thing, which was to call in a favor on Omega. She was on the bridge as they approached the space station. Rodriguez worked the sensors and zoomed in on a section of the stem. It was surrounded by scaffolding and was clearly under repair. "It's like somebody sliced a piece of the station off," Zara said. "Who would be brazen enough to do that?" Rodriguez asked. "Somebody with a dreadnought who most people consider a myth." "The 7 ghosts. That's my working theory. McKinley, park us so we can go get some answers." "Aye, Captain." McKinley took the ship towards Omega and found an empty dock. 5 minutes later, the ship was docked and the airlock cycled. Zara, Harris, and Taylor stepped onto the station. 2 armed Batarians were waiting for them. "You have some nerve showing up here, Alliance," one of them said. "We're here to see Mocklin. We saved his bacon during that whole Omega Glory fiasco, so he owes us." There was a pause as the Batarians listened to the radios in their ears. "You can go talk to Arya," one of them said to Zara. "You two stay here." Zara didn't flinch as she made her way deeper into Omega. The heart of Omega was a club called Afterlife. It was loud and wild. Sitting on a couch, overseeing it all, was Arya T-Loke. Zara knew that the Asari was trying to intimidate her, but she had no intention of being pushed around. She walked in like she owned the place. A Batarian tried to charm her. 2 punches quickly ended that conversation. As she approached Arya, one of her bodyguards stopped her and took out a scanner. "She's clear," the man, who was Batarian, said. "So, Captain Zara Ayers of the SSV Ain Jalut, what brings you to my corner of the galaxy?" "Looking for information on the 7 ghosts. I figured Mocklin might have some." "The 7 ghosts are a myth. Did a myth slice off part of your station? We noticed the repair work as we came in." "Mocklin was in the section that was stolen." I can give you a few frequencies that can come in handy and a general direction. But after that, you're on your own. Nice doing business with you." The Batarian who had scanned her offered her an electronic pad. She took it and headed back to the ship. Chapter 8. Area's information had gotten them to a system with an automated helium-3 refinery. Its logs had gotten them to the next system, where they had encountered a freighter that had seen the dreadnought pass by. All in all, they had managed to follow a trail of clues across 12 solar systems. But their luck ran out in system number 13. No planets, no asteroid belts, just a lone star and an abandoned chunk of Omega. Zara was watching the readings in CIC. Come on, there has to be something. We didn't come this far to throw in the towel now. She looked at the galactic map. They were in the Epsilon Hydra system. It was the last stop before the Epsilon Nebula. The nebula was a dense cluster of gas and asteroids that all traffic avoided. No, it can't be that easy. Can it? Making a choice, she activated the intercom to the bridge. McKinley was surprised when she ordered them into the nebula, but didn't object. As they set course for their new destination, she hoped that the Normandy class would maintain its record for getting in and out of impossible places. Time for our own Alos. And they had gotten here thanks to Area T-Loke. She smiled at the irony. 3 hours later, Ain Jalut reached her first barrier. So far, the nebula had been only gas, but now she was facing a dense asteroid belt. Behind the helm, McKinley flexed his fingers. "Time to earn that paycheck, LT," Zhukov said. "Too bad Joker isn't here to see this." McKinley ran one last scan before they bolted into the belt. The ship moaned and creaked as they bobbed and weaved through the belt. But Ain Jalut held together, and McKinley kept pressing buttons. Eventually, the field grew less dense. Soon, it was replaced by a dense layer of xenon. It blinded the sensors, but they kept going. Suddenly, they punched out of the xenon and into a band of helium. "Well, if there are locals, this is where they are getting their gas," Zhukov said. "Yep, not that hard to turn helium into helium-3. They kept going. Only time would tell what the nebula would throw at them next. The next asteroid belt showed up 2 hours later. Somebody had mined it, which was a major clue they were headed in the right direction, but it made crossing the belt much harder, or so whoever placed the mines hoped. But between McKinley's flying skills, Zhukov reading the sensors and Sanders' knowledge of the stealth system, they passed through just fine. As they cleared the belt, Zara walked onto the bridge. "Status report, Lieutenant." "We're in clear space, Captain." "Sensor are saying there's a single star ahead, but Captain, what we're seeing doesn't make sense. If this was natural, there would be gas here as well, and the gas on the outside should have been a lot less dense." "Somebody pushed the inner gas out to create a dense outer shell," Zara said. "Creating camouflage for this system." "Well, let's go knocking, Lieutenant." "Aye, Captain, but even at full speed, it'll be 3 hours until we get to their front door." "Good, I'll need to dust off first contact protocol for this one." Zara left and McKinley set course at maximum speed. 3 hours had barely been enough time to skim the first contact protocols. If there was one thing admirals loved to do, it was writing rules to deal with the unknown. The second thing they loved to do was to come up with reasons to force people to wear dress uniforms. The first contract protocols allowed them to do both. Zara was in her quarters being a grouch about having to wear her dress blues. Rodriguez to Ayers. "We've arrived, Skipper." "Understood. So where are we going exactly?" "There are 5 planets and 11 moons. But only the 3rd planet has a breathable atmosphere and comfortable gravity." "The reading is," Rodriguez checked his monitor, 1.1 G. "The rotation period is 23 hours with an orbit period of 1.5 years, ma'am." "Thank you, Commander. Ayers out." Zara walked out of her quarters. The game was afoot. New Rannoch. Admiral Harash had been the head of state of New Rannoch for 4 years now. He had been democratically elected. On any other planet, he would have been called a president. Harash and his advisors oversaw 7 mayors who were called captains on New Rannoch and 3 island governors. The towns had been founded by crews of the original ships, and when the original landmass had run out of space 117 years ago, the colony had expanded onto 3 nearby islands. These were run by governors called commanders. But right now, Harash only wanted to call them annoying. New Rannoch had been settled a mere 3 weeks after the ghosts had been separated from the main fleet, and in all the years that the Quarians had been here, nobody had ever found them. Until now. The human vessel had made it through the shell, so now the captains and commanders were panicking. We never should have sent the dreadnoughts out. One of the captains yelled, and end up facing the Reapers alone. Great survival plan, genius. The Reapers wouldn't have found us. Oh, don't be so naive. Besides, I am not going to be the dad who tells his kids that we survived by letting the rest of the galaxy die. Enough, Harash yelled. All the captains and commanders looked at him. They were in a large meeting room next to the admiral's office. There was a long table with 20 chairs. Art and tapestries covered the walls. Fancy lamps lit the space, and a large fireplace provided heat. It was all pomp and circumstance, and Harash hates it. The decision was made. There's no way back now, only forward. So, Vice Admiral Rackle began. We need to set a course. All the captains and commander had thoughts, but Rackle rarely spoke, and when he did, his words carried a lot of weight, so all of them were silent. Now, unless you want to become known throughout the galaxy as a bunch of barbarians who blow up anybody who happens to fly by, I suggest we talk to these people first and see what happens after that. Sounds good to me. Meeting adjourned. Admiral Harash got up and walked out. SSV Ain Jalut. McKinley was taking the ship down through the atmosphere. The planet had 2 landmasses, a large northern one that was covered in ice and a small southern one. The southern one was tropical with 7 big cities surrounding a heart of farmland. Bridges connected the cities to 3 small islands close to the coast. The islands were covered in dense cities as well. Looks like the 7 ghosts have done quite well for themselves, Zara said. Where shall I put her down? McKinley asked. McKinley and Zara were alone on the bridge. She pointed to a park between what appeared to be several government buildings. McKinley nodded and put the Ain Jalut down exactly where ordered. Time to go meet the natives. Zara went to the airlock.